Well, welcome back into Good Morning Jacksonville. It's 6:42. It says it right there. Mayor-elect Donna Deegan with us, history made. How's it feel to see your name with the mayor-elect there in the full screen graphic?
It's very gratifying, very grateful, very surreal this morning. Yeah,
cool. I think that would be an ideal word to use to describe all of this. Donna, you said it yourself, it has to feel surreal. We're talking about the first woman ever to be mayor of Jacksonville. You made history last night. First Democrat in 3 decades. What's the feeling, the thoughts right now on your end? How are you feeling?
Well, again, just so grateful to everybody who worked so hard on this campaign. We made a decision more than a year and a half ago. We were going to run a grassroots ground campaign, knocking on doors, talking to people face to face, and I think you see the results of that. There were so many people that told us on the trail, nobody's ever been in our neighborhood, nobody's ever taken the time to come listen to us before, and we felt like over time, because our message really was, we want to bring the people inside City Hall that would resonate with voters.
So TK Waters, let's get kind of into the future now if we can. Have you had he was mentioning he wants to have an opportunity to sit down with you.
Sure, of course.
He's been in many ads against you and campaigning, calling you radical.
Yeah.
But now is it water under the bridge,
of course.
water over the dam, wherever the water goes?
I said this when I sat down with the Fraternal Order of Police when they were doing their selection process. I said, I know what you're going to do. Everybody understands the way this is going to work, but I just want you to know that when I am mayor, we will have a good relationship and I will be a good partner to law enforcement. And I think everybody knows that. I've had a good relationship with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office my entire life. It really has never been an issue, and it won't be. This was a lot of politics, and now we both have that goal of a safe city, and I know that we'll work together to make that happen.
Don, I do want to take a look ahead to what's in store, because we're seeing the makeup right now of City Council, what it looks like. Majority Republican, 14-5, only 2 women sitting on the council at this point, and you're making history as the first female mayor. Your thoughts going into that with this? It is opposition that you're going to face.
Well, it is and it's not. I mean, I made a very large point in this campaign of saying that the only way this city is going to move forward is if we get rid of the division and we work together. I've had a lot of long relationships with many people that are on that council, and had a couple of folks cross over to endorse me. I believe that I can work with everybody on that council, and I think that if we have a bunch of people who love Jacksonville, and I believe we do, that we'll be able to work together. On
your website, you mentioned infrastructure, you mentioned health, and you mentioned economy and commerce. Hitting the ground running. What you going to tackle first? What are we watching?
Well, the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to go in and throw open the blinds and let the sun shine in. I think that's what we heard from most voters, is they didn't feel like there was enough transparency in their government. So we're going to create very intentionally some diversity in those boards that we have in the city that have been very homogenous and the same for a long time. That's going to be a big thing. But I think creating that transparency where people feel like they actually have a stake in their government, again, is very important. And then, the first pillar of my campaign was infrastructure, and that's where we really are going to have to focus. I think if everything else is sort of predicated on how well we do that piece.
You will hear this question many times today, Donna. Your first act in office, what do you plan on doing your first day there?
Well, like I said, first day there is about changing the culture. Yeah. We have to change the culture of City Hall to being one of openness, of inclusiveness, of bringing people's voices in the room. I don't want people to be afraid to share their opinions. This is going to be a very joint effort. I want to have Democrats, Republicans, and Independents in my administration, because we've got to bring this city together. And I think we're stronger when we move together, as Matt Carlucci always says.
Can I talk about downtown? Here we are, we're working downtown. We're in downtown, whether you live here in Duval or not. You might be St. Johns County watching this morning. You might be Nassau County. But a lot of us come here to work. They need a good downtown, a vibrant downtown.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be predicated on your Jacksonville Jaguars. It's going to be predicated on what happens with the jail facility and the police memorial building that's downtown. Do you have concrete thoughts about those types of things?
Listen, I think, and I've always said this, look, I'm a 5th generation Jacksonville native. When I was a kid, downtown was incredibly vibrant. It was the place to be. And I want it to be that way again. But for those folks who say, you've talked a lot about the neglected neighborhoods, and I have, and we have to focus heavily on those neighborhoods. the downtown success will give us the commercial revenue to be able to invest back into those neighborhoods. It's just incredibly important to do that. So that's why I said infrastructure is such a big piece. If we can create public infrastructure that works, I think that's gonna really create an ignition downtown.
You know, while you were campaigning, you and I sat down for an in-depth interview about some of the issues that Jacksonville faced. One of the main issues we've heard time and time again from viewers, people, is crime within our city.
Sure.
The root cause of that, poverty.
Right.
We all know that.
That's exactly right.
How are you going to address that?
Well, that's why the 3 pillars were what they were. You didn't hear crime in the 3 pillars because it was the 3 pillars that I thought would best address that. We need to give people more lighted streets, more sidewalks, a safer neighborhood. We need to make sure that people are healthy enough to be able to work and get involved in their economy. And then that economic piece of bringing more people, more small business growth into the economy will also help with that piece. The whole idea is to give people ladders to get up, an opportunity to get to where they need to be in this city. And I think if we can start to address things like literacy, where we have only a 47% literacy in this city, 70% of our kids that are in jail are illiterate. If we can address that piece, and we're going to lift that big time when I'm in the mayor's office, those are the types of things, if we can get underneath those things, I think we can make a real dent in crime.
A 4 percentage point victory.
Yeah.
So there's clearly still plenty of Republicans out there who supported the Daniel Davis campaign. So let's talk unity. What do you say? Guys, let's bring it all under one umbrella now and do it for the city of Jacksonville.
Well, listen, let me take the flip side of that.
Please.
Please. I mean, honestly, I said all along the only way to win this race, and the only way I wanted to win it was with everybody. If you looked at the numbers of the turnout, we had to have a lot of crossover. We had to have a lot of NPA support, and that was the goal the whole time, was to be able to talk to everybody who wanted change, who desperately wanted change in the city, and say, if we all work together, we can do it. So I would say to all those people, you have seen my willingness to work across the aisle. You'll continue to see that. I've done it my whole life, and I'm really excited about working together to make this city better.
Donna Deegan, our mayor-elect here in Jacksonville, a historic win at that. Congratulations, Donna.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure we'll be seeing much more of you in the coming days, months, years. All right, folks, we're going to toss things over now to meteorologist Lauren Routenkrantz for a look ahead at your forecast.
Well, all 3